everyone. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. I hope that you had a happy Thanksgiving if you're in the US. And I'm going to keep this one pretty short and sweet because today is the day of the new moon in Sagittarius. And I've got a lot going on today. I have my water vessel ritual live on Insight Timer, and then I have the Spirit Circle tonight. So I'm going to keep this message very short and sweet, but to the point because of all of this new moon energy going on. One of the things that came through with that water vessel ritual that my team really wanted people to understand, I want to share with you here. And that is, let yourself have it now. This is such a key concept in creating your life intentionally as a creator being, understanding how powerful you are as a creator. And yet many of us won't let us have that which we desire in our own mind. We wait until it has physically manifested. And yet a lot of times things don't physically manifest, or they take a long time. And partly the reason why is we're not in alignment with it. And if we're not allowing ourselves to have it in our own mind, then we're not in alignment with it yet. And so that is a big key for letting yourself create the life you desire. Let yourself have it up here before you experience it out here. And you want to liken it to how athletes work. Athletes do this really well, right? They will sit down and visualize themselves winning the race or winning the game before they even get onto the playing field. They are already visualizing how it feels to have achieved it. They're giving themselves a neuro pathway to follow to actually do that which they're desiring to achieve. And we want to do the same thing in our own life. So this week, when you're sitting down thinking about what it is you'd like to see in your life, allow yourself to go into your own mind and experience already having it. Take yourself all the way to the end, all the way to winning, all the way to receiving and achieving and being, and let yourself experience what that feels like. Neuro program it into your mind so that you already have a neural pathway to follow to move forward into drawing it into your reality. It's such a powerful point for us to get. And that was the big one from the team today. So let yourself have it now and create the pathways in your own mind and in your own energy to receiving it. And with that, let's go into this week's Karma Cards. All right, if you're new to Karma Cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel, what is the guidance you're looking for this week? Are you looking for an action plan to follow, or are you looking to see how things resolve? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you are choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for December 1st through December 7th. And the flavor of this reading, okay, we've got Pluto, the power purge planet, recently just moved in to the sign of Aquarius. So it's at a very powerful degree right now, very active. But this is whatever empowers you stays and whatever doesn't gets purged. So there is this energy about either bringing it in or letting it go. That's going to happen in the sign of Sagittarius, which is where the sun is right now. So the Sagittarius speaks to the higher mind, to mental expansion, to seeing that bigger picture. And in the house of self, the first house. So this is the house ruled by Aries, which is really interesting because there isn't really a fire energy happening here, although there's more fire than not, because both Sagittarius and the first house are connected to fire signs. Aries is connected in an odd way to Pluto, not because their energy is the same at all, but only because the ancient ruler of Pluto is Mars, which is the ruler of the Aries, which is the ruler of the first house. So there is this like interesting cross connection happening here. So let's take a look at what the messages have to say this week. Spiritual action at this time, resurrect your highest ideals immediately. Highest ideals have to do with that bigger picture. Like, what's this all about for you? What is the big reason you're here? It's time to connect with that and do it right now. And again, kind of connecting it back to the message from the team, let yourself have that now, that is the reason you're here. Sometimes we get caught up in the minutia of what's going on and we forget that there's a grander, bigger picture to what's going on. So it's time to bring that into the focus right now. Mental action at this time, get to the heart of the rules of how you project yourself. We all have sort of a construct of ourself that we overlay on top of what's going on. And there's so many layers to who we are. So the rules of how you project yourself, those might be the belief systems or the patterns of behavior, the things that you're sort of entrenched in, that you believe this is what makes up who you are. I can't possibly, like, for example, let's say you're a very studious person. And because you're studious, you can't be silly. Right. That might be an unconscious belief, and yet it's there. It's like, I always have to maintain a certain level. Or if you're silly, you can't be serious. Right. Think about how we get excited when we see a comedic actor do dramatic work, or a dramatic actor do comedic work. Right. Because they're breaking through sort of this stereotype of what they are. And what it's asking us here to do is also break through the stereotypes of who do you think you are. Sometimes those can be helpful and they give us standards and a way of behaving and presenting that feels very much in alignment with us, but sometimes they can actually create barriers and blocks to breaking through to new experiences. And this isn't about making how you see yourself right now or the rules in which you live by good or bad. It's by recognizing, are these helpful? Are they elevating me, or are they hindering me, or do they do both, or does it depend on when I bring that out? For some people, obviously, we're different with different people. The people who are closest to us see a different side of us than those who are very far away from us, obviously. But if we feel like we're having a hard time tapping into our own authenticity, we might want to look at, like, what do I believe like I can't be, or I have to be? What are those rigid edges that I put around myself? And are they empowering me, or are they getting in my own way? It's just a time to look and evaluate. Physical action at this time, do or die. You must get out into the world and do it on your own. Yeah, every time we get Pluto, we get that super dramatic edge of, you've got to do it right now. There's no choice. And interestingly, with today's new moon energy, there is a bit of that edge to it. It's like, you don't get to go back. It is forward momentum. Now is the time to do this work. So it's letting us know that now is the time to do it. It's time to assess on these different levels. Like, what's that bigger picture? Why is this all happening? What is life? What is life for me? What is the mission or the purpose or the bigger view, or how it connects to the biggest picture? What ways do I form myself or block myself, or do a little bit of both? And it's like we're doing this internal exploration, but we're also very much out in the world doing it. It's not like you get special time to hide away and go into a retreat and assess it. It's almost like you're doing it actively while you're in the world. There's no special time right now, no cocoon period to do it, because, well, it's a very social period in general. I mean, December is a very social month for a lot of people because of the holidays and all the interactions. So it's like you're going to be sort of like observing yourself. It's a really interesting thing where you're both in your avatar and in your observer self, and you're observing your avatar in action, and you're like, why does this feel good, or why does it not feel good? It's about the self limits, or the self form. That's what they keep showing me, is sort of like, like a silicone mold or something like that I pour myself into every day. I'm always pouring myself into a certain form. This is how I want to present. This is how I want the world to see me. And yet sometimes we can feel restricted by that, or that it's not, like maybe the form itself isn't quite allowing us to fully show what we want to show. And so we're just being asked to readdress that and pay attention to it. So now let's look at outcomes for Pluto in Sagittarius in the first house of self. Spiritual outcome at this time is the need for control of insights to understand who you are. We're really going to want to get this, right? This is a conversation. Like if you're hearing this, it might just spark this in you, and you're just like, what mold do I put myself into? It do I feel limited by my own self-expression? Is there something I could do that would allow myself to feel freer or more connected to myself or more authentic? Is there something about how I express that literally blocks me from receiving what I want? For example, maybe I want to feel more supported, and yet I project a really tough exterior where I don't need help because I don't want to be perceived as weak. And so people perceive you as really strong and having it together, and that you don't need help. And so no one ever reaches out because they never sense that vulnerability, right? And it's part of it for you to realize, oh, I've got to soften here, or I've got to be willing to be vulnerable here. That's one way that could look. So notice how that shows up in your own life. Mental outcome at this time, an obsession with the wisdom of your desires. So there seems to be, again, the thanks to Pluto and that I need to empower myself energy, there is maybe an extra weight put on what you desire to be, which means it can take the focus off what you are, which is an imbalance of sorts. If you think about it, it's like there is wisdom there, but there's also wisdom in this moment and what's happening now, right? This is the most powerful moment, is whatever's happening right here, right now, as it is, this is very powerful too. So there's sort of maybe an unintentional mental tendency to downgrade this moment and really focus on what that's supposed to be, or what I want it to be, or what it's trying to tell me, and we get kind of fixated on that at this time. Physical outcome at this time, a power struggle resulting from the understanding of your actions. So you can hear it in that last one. It's like there's a struggle between I'm absolutely present and with myself and authentically here, and whatever's happening already is already what's supposed to be happening, and then this idealized version and the desire to become that which you truly feel is more authentic or more in alignment, or would open you up to a more powerful stance or more amazing things happening in your life. There's this struggle right now to hold on to either one. It's like they don't really feel like they mesh at this time. For this week, they feel like they are competing with each other, and it's like, where do I go? What do I focus on? There's just a natural desire to focus on what you want to create next. That's very true to the energy right now. The new moon is all about that. It's all about what I'm creating next. And Sagittarius, the season we're in, is all about this bigger picture. And then we're going to go into Capricorn, which is all about the goal and making that manifest. And so it's okay that there's a struggle to be like here when you want to be there. I think the wisdom we can take from this moment is being okay with that struggle. It's not always an even overlap, right? There's not always a smooth transition. Sometimes it's a desire to break, and yet the remembering that, yes, the present moment is the power moment. And sort of like, which one, is it okay to keep showing up this way, or do I really need to like get myself to shift? And it's one of those things where it's like you take it moment by moment. And in the moments where you're okay with it, you really let yourself have that. And in the moments you're ready to shift, you let yourself have that, knowing that neither one of these is a fixed position right now, because it's a transition point. Because we're literally in a transition point. We're in a new moon. We're at the end of a year. We're getting ready for so many new things to happen. And so there's just this sort of restlessness that comes in with this energy, and it's absolutely okay. And It's got something to tell you. Even that struggle moment has wisdom in it. So whether you're over here in the present or wandering off into the future or struggling to connect the two, each space has wisdom to share with you. And we just want to get into a place of trust that wherever I'm focused is where I'm supposed to be focused at this moment in time. And with that, I am sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you very soon for the next karma cards. Mwah.